Hey, this is Mark with Dine.Digital. Welcome to the Dish. We're so glad to have you. And what we do on the Dish is talk to restaurants all throughout the United States and have great conversations and learn about them. When we're not doing that, we also help restaurants with marketing services like Google search, Facebook advertising, website development, and those kind of things. But we're really glad to try to help the industry as much as possible during this difficult time with these interviews. And today we're glad to have Lindsay from Nirvana Grille out in Laguna Beach, and she's coming on right now. How are you doing, Lindsay?
Hi there. How's everybody?
Yeah, we're awesome. So glad that we could have you be a part of the show today. And we're going to jump in and start learning about what you guys are up to over in Laguna Beach. So tell us about Nirvana Grille.
So Nirvana Grille is a sustainable California cuisine. We're about 12 years in our Laguna Beach location. We had another one in Mission Viejo that was there for about 7 years that we closed down a few years ago when the economy was not so great then as well. We have shifted to be an online grocery store, curbside pickup. We now have delivery. We're doing things fulfilled daily where we're uploading our inventory, and people are having a live inventory that they're ordering from, about 215 items on our grocery. And then our restaurant side, we're doing meal kits and we're doing some cocktails, not as many of the cocktails as the food really. And then we have our hot food that we shift every day. And all of those items we're also selling on the grocery side. Some of them in prepared and some of them frozen and some of them fresh that we're doing. So.
All right, very good. So tell us a little bit about your own journey in the restaurant industry. How did you get started in all this?
Well, I kind of just always loved food. I worked at the Ritz-Carlton and for Pascal Olhatz when I was in culinary school. And doing those concurrent to one another was something when I was young was really beneficial for me, and just having different viewpoints. And then as soon as I was done with culinary school and felt like I had an opportunity, I quit at Pascal's and remained at the Ritz, and I remained there for about 6 years, where I then later met my husband, and my catering business I was building through there while working, and got so busy doing that that I quit after about 6 years of working at the Ritz, and then just sustained myself doing that for a little bit before being a corporate chef for Z Pizza Corp while they went national with franchisees, and kind of developing their vendor relationships and negotiating pricing for them. And straight from there, I just didn't feel very fulfilled. I felt like a babysitter of a bunch of units. And so I went ahead and just kind of started envisioning with my husband at the time what we wanted to do. And it was to open our own restaurant. And that came to life fairly quickly after that. So it's been a kind of a straight line journey to doing what I'm doing. And it's now been about 18 years that we've been at it.
Good stuff. Now, when you're either your typical restaurant setup, when everything's normal, and then even now, so kind of juxtapose what you can expect right now versus like a normal setup at your restaurant for your guests when they come in.
So right now it's a little different for us. When people come up, we do have the benefit of being on the corner. And so we have a metered space that also leads back about 3 meters. And people pull up to the curbside. We can see them pull up from our desk, and they call us and let us know that they're there, and we'll fill the order. We're now open we get there about noon to start filling orders and getting everything in. And then around 2, customers start picking up orders all the way till about 7:30. And then deliveries begin as well. But they just call us and we bring it out. And sometimes people will walk up to the front door, but not often. We do have the ability to order there through a little kiosk iPad and a little hands-free credit card reader that they put their card in. And so those things we've shifted. But we're doing a lot of delivery, obviously. We're not doing a lot of third-party sites just because it's more beneficial for us to do it. And there's so much work to update there that we're just keeping that very simple. And we're shifting our menu every week to what we have available. And we're using a site called Shopify, and we load every day our inventory of what we're selling. And so that allows us to, deplete that inventory and the next day decide what we want to do, change our meal kits, change our special. And so it's keeping it really readily available and fresh and enabling us to kind of change things up for people.
Very nice.
And now I have my desk in my office in the dining room facing the front door. So that's a little different. I'm spread out, and our day-to-day responsibilities have changed a little bit. I'm not really in the kitchen as much as I am managing and innovating and thinking of what's next and what's the new plan and how do we need to shift things. And last night we had city council meeting from like 5 o'clock until almost 10:45. And so it's things like that, staying up to date and knowing what's next. What are people in the community saying? How can we adapt? And that's, I think, today is just the adaptability.
Sure. So tell us a little bit more about the uniqueness of Nirvana Grille.
Well, as far as uniqueness, I think we're shifting. We're finding ways of what we already do, and we're making it a little uncomfortable for everybody in a good way. Our staff kind of didn't know what to do, but it's when we get complacent in those really affixed expectations of the way things should be or look, that we miss the opportunity, not just financial opportunity, but the opportunity to grow and to challenge ourselves and to see, okay, out of this experience, it's actually been a blessing for us. We are consistently busier every day than the ups and downs of our weeks before. And I think that's because we're offering something that the community needs. They're not feeling safe. They're still not wanting to go out. Somebody put on Facebook of one of my clients and a local designer, if the restaurant's open this week, would you go? And a lot of people said, no, not yet. I don't feel ready. And so what can we do as a restaurant community to make them feel safe? What are we doing? They don't know how we're going to be in the back, if somebody's going to be picking their nose or washing their hands, or, they don't know. And we need to figure that out. We need to be able to instill that faith and trust in them that we're doing, and we already knew before this happened what we were doing to keep them safe. What extra steps are we taking to know that our staff is safe, our family's safe, and that they're safe? And I think that's what it comes down to, is there's a lot of trust that has to be established, and hopefully restaurants have built that with their customers, such as we have, and people want to continue doing what we're doing because it's something that the community doesn't have. It's something that they feel we're getting product fresher and more specialty that they can find in the market. And so it's something that actually could continue past opening for us.
Great. Yeah, that adaptability skill set is huge, not only for now, but just always.
Yeah.
So as far as what you guys have on the menu, if somebody comes to you guys for the first time, what would be the thing you'd say, you got to try this, or you have to indulge on this particular item?
Well, I think one of my favorites is our loup de mer sea bass, Mediterranean sea bass, loup de mer, branzino, branzini, whichever fish you want to call it today, same fish. I've tried it many places. It's very simple. It lets the food shine for itself, the sweetness of the fish. We put a little garlic herb oil on it and we grill it, and then just to mark it very, very gently because it will fall apart. And then we finish it in the oven and we top it with a little lemon and brown butter. And then we make some sauteed French lentils with leeks and some chives and parsley and butter, and then some mixed vegetables, which is usually zucchini and broccolini and maybe some green beans. And it's just a very simple, clean dish. It's not complicated. It really stands for itself. Sometimes, you'll have branzino or loup de mer and it's kind of dried out or roasted and you don't get to really taste the sweetness. And so I always try to taste somebody else's, and I have to say I still love mine more. So it's definitely our signature fish. It never leaves the menu. It's been the same since the moment it went on in what we serve it with, just because it works and there's no reason to change it. So it's one of my favorites.
Broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just had that conversation with my assistant. Why are you spending all this time on all this other stuff? It's working. We need to focus on the things that aren't working. So it's true. Why look at it just to change it just for a change if people really like it? Keep it that way, because the one thing people love is knowing they can go somewhere for something they absolutely love and it's always there,
Right.
especially in the restaurant.
Very good. Typically, we will have a show off your dish portion right now because we just got through talking about the menu. The kitchen behind you is not Nirvana Grill. That's your personal one.
This is the labor of love that I've worked so far for. We've lived here for about 17 years. And a few years ago, after 13 years, my kitchen, if you see my head, used to end right there. This was my kitchen.
Oh,
and
wow.
in that little space contained my stove, my fridge, my sink, and my dishwasher. And now all of that's my kitchen too. So we had a leak and it gave an opportunity to push and spend far more money than we ever should have because everything was opened up and HVAC and everything. But it's absolutely a gift to have behind me and to cook in. So
yeah. So instead of a live dish that you would have right there, we're going to look at your Instagram and we'll hit a couple of these and you can kind of tell us about these dishes. So I'm going to drop off. I won't be on screen or be heard, but you can take the reins as far as telling us what's going on this actual dish that we see. So I'll go bye-bye for a moment.
So those are our crab cakes that we make. Those are raw ones that can be bought by the dozen. That's roasted salsa that we're making right now and fresh chips that we're doing that can be bought through the market side. It's just a roasted tomato with some onions. That's our Herbs de Provence airline chicken breast. We do a pan sauce with shallots and white wine. And then those are the same lentils that we do on our loup de mer sea bass. And then broccolini with a shallot butter. Oh yeah, that's good. That's oftentimes my breakfast these days. It contains all the ingredients of breakfast. It has eggs and croissants and bananas and milk. And so I figured it was a perfect breakfast food. But that's our banana bread that we make in-house. We sell bananas through the store. And so when they start to get a little bit riper and we know they're not going to last for our customers very long, we make banana bread. So we use dark chocolate and croissants and bananas, and it's very delicious. That is our very popular beef stroganoff. We use filet mignon and fresh tarragon, fresh onions, a sweet and spicy mustard, and then we also marinate the beef in a dried onion, dried mustard, and dried tarragon, and then a little sour cream, and then a mushroom Worcestershire sauce, and beef stock.
Very good. All of that looks amazing. And I'm sure we could have seen a whole lot more if we can just continue to go.
I was seeing how far down the Loup de Mer was, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll have to try to find that later. Maybe we can highlight it on the after the fact. So for people that are coming into the Laguna Beach area, maybe they're visiting for the first time, what else besides visiting you guys would you suggest they go check out?
Well, right now there's not a lot open, but and this year, unfortunately, we are usually coming into our season in the next month of our festivals. And unfortunately, the Pageant of the Masters Festivals has just announced this week that they will not be doing this season. Not the art exhibition nor the Pageant of the Masters, which has been going for, I think now almost, they're going on 100 years almost, I think, or 80, 85 years. I can't recall the exact amount, but that's something that's going to be interesting to see our summer without our summer. We're really not knowing what to expect. And if kids go back to school at the end of July, like we're hearing, what does that look like for summer? Our summer become our fall. And do people then start taking that time after life gets back a little bit to normal? People start going back to work in the next few weeks. Do we now see that shift go forward? I don't know. But the main beach is we have a boardwalk along there. We're a 7-mile stretch beach town. So quite a few beaches along that stretch. And I think that if you can get to any of the beaches, whether it be Montage or Main Beach or some of the Crescent Bay, those are great places to be able to go and see our town. It's just such a unique, beautiful place. And then walking around, there's about 100 galleries in the kind of downtown area. And we have about 118 restaurants in Laguna in a 7-mile stretch. So definitely a lot of variety. Although again, we've had 6 close in the last month, so permanently. And so I'm not sure really what we're going to see for people as they start coming into town as far as saturation. We're all trying to see that, but definitely the arts and the restaurants and the beaches are kind of the namesakes of town.
Right. That sounds, under normal circumstances, a great place to visit, and hopefully, before too much longer, everyone will be able to get back to those places without any problems. So you've done it, you've started the restaurant, you've been doing it for a while. For someone that's looking into it, what's some wisdom that you would give them before they get started in their own adventure?
Slow down and the details matter. I mean, that's like every day I say that to my assistant too. And even right now with what we're doing, it's easy to get excited. It's easy to be wanting to do it right away, but you kind of have one shot at it. And especially in today's virtual world, not just COVID world, but if somebody doesn't like it, you've got one chance to woo them, and then one chance for them to regurgitate online. And it's a difficult thing because we are in a human business. So I would say slow it down, really think about the details. How far do servers have to go to reset a table? Where is all their marking silverware? Where's their glassware? Do you have everything accessible? How are you going to communicate with the kitchen from front to back? Where do things come up? How do tickets print? You have to know the little things, because all the little things, all the details, all the finite points of the restaurant, those are the things that actually make the experience. Those are actually the things that matter, because the big things, we all see them. We all know that they're there, the structure of it, or the table, or the chair, or the silverware. We see all of that. But those finite details, if we're not paying attention to it, that's when the flow of things don't happen. That's when service breakdowns happen and communication happens and customer, confusion occurs. And so I think that slow it down, really focus on all the little things of how you're going to operate your business. What's the connection for the customer, and how smooth will service run, and how will the flow be between front and back?
Wise words. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Now, if there's something in the industry that you could change, what would that look like?
Oh man, that's a big one. I live in a 7-mile stretch. There's 118 restaurants. We don't collaborate. We know each other socially, but there's not a lot of intertwine because we're all just fighting to survive. There's high rents. There's, a lot of competition. There's a lot of tourism. The locals don't all live in town all year round. So it's hard because you want to support each other, but there's no connectedness in making sure that we together survive. It's kind of like, what do I have to do to survive? I'm hoping out of this experience of everybody, trying to figure out what to do, that we're able to find ways of supporting each other and not feeling like there's not enough for all of us. Because there essentially is. And it's how do we come together as a community of restaurants and chefs and make that matter as supporting each other. By supporting each other, we have the same guidelines for how much we pay our staff. What's our protocol for that? Our staff then don't really extort that experience of moving from one place to the other and not having a dedicated crew, because we're there to support them. We're always fighting to, get somebody in because somebody's going to the next job. I really hope this in our community, at least as the Laguna Beach community, we're able to come a little closer and support each other in a different way, to where it's more about one another and less about the competition.
Amen. Like it. So tell us a little bit about what you love the most about being a restaurateur.
Every day is different. I mean, you cannot plan your days, which is good and bad. My list grows every day. It does not shrink. But it's so unique to any other industry. It is about the I don't know, there's just this stamina that's behind it. There's this energy that flows like no other business. And because it's human based, you have all of this uniqueness that comes every day to it. And I don't think another business really comes close to that, at least that I've come in contact with. And just to know that people are experiencing things within your restaurant and they're creating memories that are so sensory derived. When you smell something, you're like, oh, I remember that. That's like my grandmother when we were doing this. And it brings up something in us that kind of stimulates a memory of the past, or we're creating a new memory out of this. And to be able to mark that in somebody's life and to be a part of that is really quite incredible. And they choose us to create that experience. And if you're not thinking about that as a restaurateur, you're way missing the mark. Because in this business, to have that impact on somebody's life and to make a difference like that, it's kind of our responsibility. That's why we're in service. And so I really, I find it encouraging that we have people coming in to celebrate anniversaries and birthdays and dates, and they get engaged, and they meet friends after years of not seeing each other, or it's their once a week place to come down to have dinner with their friends and family, or go before a show. It's really something really special to be a part of.
I agree, and I've heard that sentiment repeated in other talks. So yeah, the ability to be a part of other people's lives and special occasions is definitely a great part of your industry. So you're a professional. We'd love to have a little bit of a tip when it comes to preparing food or cooking or anything along those lines. What can you share with us today along those lines?
I think just by doing work ahead of time, it really helps. We are able to do our thing on the restaurant line so quickly. Everything is made a la minute, or in the moment of when we have something. But in reality, we're halfway already there. Our sauces are already made. Our vegetables are already cut. Our herbs are already cut. Everything's kind of ready for us. So if you're going to have people over for dinner, get yourself ready. Get everything prepared ahead of time to where you just have little bowls that you've wrapped in plastic. So when you're going to cook, you're executing that in a very short period of time, just like we would. When you have proteins, sear them off and get them ready for the oven, so that all you're doing is finishing them off. And when you're having people over, that 20-minute getting a dish ready could turn into 5 or 10. I think doing those steps to get yourself prepared, it makes entertaining a little bit nicer, because you don't miss out on the whole part of it, which is, I think, why it's hard for people to entertain, is that they feel like they're stuck in the kitchen and they miss the entire time of everybody being there. And, in the kitchen, it's, you do your mise en place, we say, everything's made a la minute, and then you clean up as you go. And if you're not doing those 3 things, you're not going to execute 100 people that night or 200 people that night in a very timely manner. And those things make a huge difference. Get yourself prepared, make things that you can in advance, and clean as you go.
Love it. Be prepared. That's like Boy Scout stuff right there, All right. So it's we're winding up our time together here, but we want to draw attention to the fact that you guys watching can find Nirvana Grille and ourselves online. You can see the scroll at the bottom there. Please, we took a look at the Instagram earlier, which was at Nirvana Grille, and that is also their website. So you can visit them online there and see more about their online presence. And is there anything else that you'd like to impart with us before we wrap up our time today?
I think it's really just for nationally people to know how anxious the restaurants are to get back to it. That, we hear so many people supporting our community and the restaurants as a whole. It's really commendable how much people have just wrapped their arms around realizing how much restaurants are the heart of communities. It's really, it's great to be a part of that. And so just know we are just as anxious to get back to it and serving people in a way that we can become a new normal. as everybody else is to get out and stop cooking for themselves.
Yeah.
We want to be doing that again. And although we've tried to make it easy by doing to go, it really is what our heart's passion is for most of us. And we want to get back to doing that.
Yeah, that would be great. I know there's a resounding yes from the rest of us on all that. So we're so glad that you were able to join today and learn more about Nirvana Grill and what you guys are doing out on the West Coast. And for everyone else that's tuned in, thank you for joining. Please follow. While you're following Nirvana Grill, follow us, Dine.Digital. That's our website and our Instagram. We greatly appreciate likes, share, subscribe, do all those fun things. Continue to support your local businesses and restaurants. And Lindsay, thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right,
Mark.
everybody. We will see y'all later on the next time we're having great conversations with wonderful people and restaurants. Thank you.